All right, back on the SuperCube III that was sent in from Cypress, California. And this one's still on the bench. I just want to get it knocked out quickly as I can. Once again, trying to get caught up on this stuff. I think this one may have been in for service in the past. And a couple things, I haven't even unsoldered the test resistors and pot that I have on there. But if you look, let me try to zoom in. Hopefully it'll stay focused. So there's two iterations of hot glue on this thing. And yes, I did poke them with the tip of the soldering iron right there and right there to verify that it is actually hot glue. You can see the top one has a much more shiny sheen than this bottom one right here. And if I look at these capacitors, I think that one, that 22 at 35 has been replaced, plus possibly these hundreds at 35 have been replaced. And I believe this 100 at 35 has been replaced as well. You can see it's been hand soldered. I'm not sure about the other surface mounts. I will test them once I get this board out of here, which is going to be a feat of magic basically because of all the glue that they have all over this thing. I am thankful they use hot glue. I'm going to try to heat up the aluminum to help soften the glue, and hopefully it'll pop out. Now I have already removed all of the screws. As you can see, there's that one right there. There's one that goes into the jack assembly, and then these go into that aluminum. Well, it's not really a heat sink per se. Nothing's actually mounted on it as far as I know. No semiconductors at least. It's just there. But yeah, I think this may have been serviced previously. Sometimes you can get lucky and you can just apply force on the jacks. Let's try to zoom out just a little bit. Sometimes you can apply a good amount of force to the jacks and it'll break that glue loose, because I don't think they clean the aluminum really super good when they put this thing together. But I think I'm going to take the hot air blower and just try to heat up just around here until I get it fairly warm, not hot. I don't want to melt these jacks. I do need to go ahead and remove the nuts off of here. So we'll get those off real quick. And that one, try to make a getaway. So one thing worthy of note, when you're taking this apart, keep in mind that these are the screws right here that go into the heatsink. And then this is the one screw that goes into the jack assembly. And if I can get zoomed in on it a little bit better, you can notice the thread pitch on those screws, which is really meant for sheet metal. And then that one has a much coarser thread pitch meant for plastic. So I don't think it's going to make a difference if you get them messed up or mixed up. I try to keep things separate so I don't strip out things that don't need to be stripped out. And let's see if we can get these washers off of here. I could just flip it over, but that wouldn't be fun, would it? There we go. Helps if you have fingernails. So basically at this point, with the exception of the LED that's on that stupid yellow glue that turns brown and conducts over time, which everything's getting replaced with hot glue anyhow. So the pots are loose. In fact, if I move this one, it should actually, you can see it does push through the board. I might just try a tiny bit of pry action and see if something wants to give way first before I go through the hassle of trying to heat up and go that route. So let's get these resistors unsoldered first. I know you guys like real-time videos, so we'll see what happens here. Now I could just go ahead and unsolder the pots, but the jack becomes a problem because of all the glue. I don't want to risk damaging the board because it does have a couple of surface mount components. Sorry if that was out of view. It does have a couple of surface mount components under the glue, and I don't want to add any extra stress to those if I don't have to. Okay, pots, or the pot is off and the fixed resistors are off as well. So just for the heck of it, I'm just going to try just a wee bit of gentle prying. And we've got the glue cracked for the LED, so that is good. It should give up fairly easily. This is the one that I'm actually worried about. It is moving slightly, so that is a good thing. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's creating a small bubble. I do not know why they had to glue everything down so rigorously. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Oh, maybe it's going to be just a hair easier than I had originally anticipated. Yeah, look at that. The jacks are coming out very peacefully. It has taken some of the gasket material with it. Grab a knife and slice that. Try not to slice my finger off simultaneously. Oh yeah. Remember, always cut towards yourself. You have better control. Yeah, right. Safety third, everybody. Safety third. And if we can just get over here and push on the LED. Sometimes they're press fit. And of course they didn't leave long enough leads to pull everything out. And I'm not missing any screws, so that's good. It's still kind of stuck over here. What they do is they put masking tape down. Try to get that into view for you. They put this masking tape down to protect the glue from going into the pots. And I think if I just pull, it'll come off. It's being persistent. So I'm pretty happy about the way the hot glue separated. Oh, that's got a big old piece of glue. I'll try to just slice it. There we go. 99% there. And we are 100% there. I just got to cut these zip ties. And I'll re-zip tie it once everything is said and done. I think what I'm going to do is just unsolder these leads from the board. And hopefully it is labeled. There's an L on the black lead, so that's good. And then that'll let me just remove the board completely. There we go. That should make life slightly easier. And it did. Okay, very good. Okay, there's the money shot right there. So this is the volume control, an audio taper 5K pot. This is the, I believe, the phase, a B taper 20K, and then this is the, or is that the phase? No, we'll just put them up here. They go that way. Okay, phase alignment is an audio taper 50K pot. The variable low pass crossover is a B taper 20K pot. And then the level pot is a audio taper 5K pot. Let me make sure I have those. I'm pretty sure I do. One moment. Okay, so I have an almost exact replacement B20K pot that goes in there. The only difference is the shaft length is too long, so you do have to Dremel the shaft shorter. So I have that one. Now for the audio 5K pot, I do have an audio 5K pot right there. It is a different configuration. This one I have to solder leads on, and it has to mount upside down, and then the leads solder onto the board. And then for the last one, and I forgot which ones they were, the phase alignment pot, That's an audio 50K pot. I do have an audio 50K pot. It is a stereo pot, so we're only going to use one side of it, or one gang of it. And once again, it has to be mounted upside down with physical leads mounted to the circuit board. So they'll go in that orientation, just like that. It does require, unless you want to, let's get this opened up here. Unless you want to cut off that little dimple right there, which keeps this thing keyed, should the nut get loose, it keeps it from spinning. So it does require, when you go to mount this, you do need to drill a little index, basically right there, a little recess for these two pots, for that one and for that one, because they're going to have to go in the board upside down. They'll probably fit, because of their smaller footprint, right side up. And I could just add leads to them. But if the nut comes loose and it starts walking around, there's not a lot of surface area for these things to grab onto. So I'd rather just solder leads onto them and run them down to the board. I've had very good luck doing that. Okay, so next I'm just going to go ahead and unsolder all these pots off the board and get the leads attached, and then we'll go on to mounting the pots. So this will be a 2.5 hour video if I just do it in real time. Plus, at the end of this all, we need to unmount this board from the bottom of the subwoofer cabinet, which is still attached here. And at a minimum, replace these 4 capacitors right here that I've had problems with in the past. And I'll probably just do a quick ESR check on some of the other caps over here, just to make sure that they're okay. But that'll be at the very, very, very end, once everything else is done. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get the wires mounted. I'll probably zoom in and show one of them, because I do have to solder each lead individually, and then a little piece of heat shrink tubing goes over that. And I like to twist them so there's no interference, cross-channel interference. And yeah, we'll get this thing hopefully up and running once again. Now I have some really fine, let me grab it, and I'll show you what I plan on using. Ethernet cable. This is not standard Ethernet cable. And if I can get this stripped back real quick, I'll show you. This is actually stranded Ethernet cable. I don't know if you can see that, but this is not solid core. It is stranded cable, and so that does allow for flexing. And so I'll just get my colors matched up to where I need them, solder them on there, a little piece of heat shrink. It's a very small footprint, so it'll go very nicely onto the board and allow a little bit of flexibility without damage over time. And I think it's going to work out just fine. Okay, so I got the shafts cut off on those two. They're approximately the same length. I think it'll be just fine. You may have noticed I did put tape over this one so aluminum dust did not get inside the pot. Did not want that thing to fill up with aluminum dust. But anyhow, I've got those pots ready. That one already had the correct length shaft on it. So now we just got to add some wires, solder them to the board, get the old ones off. Well, not necessarily in that order. And check the caps, reassemble, replace the caps on the power amp board, or the high level board, as Definitive Technology calls it, and we should be good to go. So I've chosen the orange lead as the high side pot. The pink lead as the center, and this is supposed to be round with black as the low side. So I remember how it was back here. So it's very strong. Or use that black as a little bit as well. Might put some paste fluff on there, and I like this check. Rosin starting flux, 5 years, probably going now, and I wish we could get more of the British but I got here. That used probably over the last 5 years, at least. We'll see, 5 years, so and for that, so that'll be good. So I got some sponsor. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So I've chosen the orange lead as the high side of the pot. The anything with white lead as the center, and then this is supposed to be brown, but it looks black as the low side, so that way I can remember how it all goes back together. So I'm going to get some very small heat shrink. We'll cover these up. It'll act as a little bit of a strain relief as well. Now I did put some paste flux on there, and I like this. It's Radio Shack rosin soldering flux. Bought it years, it's probably 10 or 12 years old right now, and wish we could get more of it, but Radio Shack went out. I'm sure somebody still makes it, but I've got this whole container that I've used probably over the last 5-10 years at least. Well, let's see, I've worked at my current job for 8 years, so, and I got it a couple years prior to that, so if that tells you anything. So one moment while I grab some small heat shrink. And we're back. There we go. Hot air blower warming up. And we're going to go with about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. There we go, perfectly happy with that. So this is the variable phase alignment pot. We're only using 1/2 of it. So what I'm going to do is just give it all a twist to minimize interference. Hopefully it's still kind of in view for you guys. And I really don't need it this long, so I'm probably going to trim it. Give it a nice twist like that. That looks very, very good. And so what we're going to have to do is mount this upside down, like I said, and then this will run around and solder onto the board about like that. So we'll probably cut off maybe 1/2 inch, prep the ends, and get it ready for installation. Okay, the first pot is ready to go, all prepped. Wires have been all twisted up to minimize interference. And yeah, I think this is going to be good. So once again, this is the A50K pot, Audio Taper 50K. And I did make a note, only one of these is used. So on the Audio 5K, that is the volume control pot. I've already got it pre-fluxed. And I did make a note that we do have to attach 2 of those, or 2 sets of leads to it. And then this third one is basically a direct replacement. I couldn't at the time. I think this is a Borns. Yes, a Borns. I'm not quite sure what the brand is on these. They're not a cheap Chinese knockoff by any means. I think I got them from Mauser or Dejiki or possibly Newark. I'm not sure. I have accounts with all 3 companies. So off camera, I'm going to prep the other pot and get it ready to go. And then I will show you removing the pots and drilling the reliefs on the back panel and installing the new pots. And then we got to test some capacitors, which I will do before I install the new pots. So one moment. All right, let's see if this is going to cooperate. I wish they wouldn't bend them over like that. It just makes life so much harder. Sorry if that came off screen. There we go. Wow, these are really bent over. Oh, once again, sorry, that was off screen. I didn't realize I had it zoomed in quite that tight. There we go. All right, hopefully you can see all of that, or most of it at least. Okay, pots are off the board, and I did go ahead and make a note on the board where they actually go so I don't get them confused. I mean, there's only one with 3 leads, but there are 2 with 6 leads. So, now we've got those pots off the board. We can do a quick ESR check. Let's get back in autofocus so you can see it. We can do a quick ESR check on some of these capacitors. Obviously can't do them all. Actually, I can get that one under there. Well, let's go ahead and ESR these caps and see what they actually have to say. That should be good. See if the battery's still any good in this. I haven't used it in probably a month or more. Doesn't say low battery, so that's good. Need to clean the contacts every time I use this, as these banana plugs. So I want to see about 0.1 or 0.09. That's almost exactly what I'm seeing here. So I will zero it out. And this is the one that 12 volt vids had a problem with. It's a 10. And it reads 6.5 ohms. I'm actually okay with 6.5 on a surface mount for a 10. If I can get in here without obstructing too much of a view. Like to see about half an ohm. I see 0.6, that's pretty close on a 100. And the other 100, 0.8. It's not the end of the world. Another 100, 0.3. That's what I'd actually like to see on all of them. A 10, 5 ohms. I'm okay with 5 ohms on a 10. 5 ohms again. And I don't know if I can get down into here. 1.6 on a 22. That's excellent. And here's another 100.6. Good with that. And 0.3. I'm good with that. Now over here we've got a 22. 1.5. Excellent. And I don't know if I can get on this one. There's not much clearance. And 1.3, I'm very good with that. So if I can get over here without blocking everyone's view, I think this one has been replaced. And it reads 0.8 for a 100. I'm okay with that. Did I test this one? I think I did. Yeah, 0.6. Okay. Well, I'm pretty happy with the caps that I can actually get to. It's got these 3 big filter caps. I think it's a 470, a 470, and maybe a 220. I can't remember. No, maybe they're all 470s. Yep, they're all 470s. We can get those from the bottom of the board. Now on a 470, I'd like to see about a 1/4 ohm. 0.1, perfectly fine. 0.1 and 0.09. I'm great with that. So I'm very happy with every capacitor on this board, with the exception of this little guy right there that I'm not going to chip all the glue away to gain access to. And then this little guy right there, I'm not chipping the glue away. Based on everything else on the board, I'm pretty happy with those results. I would say with those values, this thing has many, many more years left in it. Okay, let's go ahead and get the caps or the new pots installed. And I still need to go ahead and drill the relief for the little standoff so it doesn't twist off should the nut come loose sometime. But while I'm here, this is going to have to be done so I can put this thing back together. See if I can get it where you can actually see it here. I just got to heat this up and suck it out with the Hacko. Okay, perfectly clean holes, ready to go. Okay, so you can kind of see those marks right there. So what I did is I just pressed the pot into the hole, and then I just pressed down and rotated it. There we go, you can see it there. I rotated it, and it just left an imprint of where I need to drill that hole. Focus, focus, there we go. And so I did that on the 2 that I need to drill the reliefs for that little standoff right there to keep it from twisting. Now I only need to go down, wow, maybe a 1/16 of an inch at the most. And I just do this freehand. I don't like put it in a drill press or anything. So one moment, let me get the correct size drill bit and we will go to town on this. I'm not going to punch a pilot hole or anything. It's going to be close enough. Okay, I like that. So I'm going to place it in here. And look at that. It's off center very, very slightly, but once it's tight, it's going to keep it from rocking. Should the nut back off. That's all I'm after. And I'll get this back into view for you here. Try to get it centered. And that one walked just a little bit, but it's okay. I like it. Okay. So we need to go ahead and attach the pots to the board next. And then we can attach the pots to the back plane right here and put this thing back together. We're getting close. Of course, we still have to change the caps on the other board. All right, let's put some pots into this thing. So I have my leads laid out. I'd like them to go in. And it's probably going to want to fall out. If it'll stay right there, I'll be perfectly happy. All right, so I have my low lead right here, my center, and my hot lead right here. And then it's just going to loop around and attach to the back panel just like that. Now we'll do it to the volume control as well. So I really want to install these in this orientation so that when I bring them around, they'll kind of be separated away from each other. So I think I'm going to try to install the bottom ones first. We'll get them lined up kind of where I need them to be, if it'll cooperate. And then hopefully it won't fall out. Okay, I like that. Now for the other set. And these are going to want to fall out. Maybe I can do that. All right, I think that's going to work out just fine. Just got to trim the leads. All right, we just have to install the B20K pot, which is basically just a drop-in replacement. Just going to add solder to one lead of this, and then heat it and push it until it's flush against the board. Let it cool. Then I can solder the other 5 leads. All right, there it is. Flush up against the board. Now remember, these guys are going to go in upside down, just like that. And I think we're ready to start reassembling this thing. And then we got to go ahead and replace the caps on the high level board. I screwed up. That was an epic fail. I drilled the holes facing the wrong direction. You think I would learn? I know I've done that before. All right, let's re-drill them and try it again. All right, that should be better. And because this one's mounted to the board, it has a tab on it, I'm just going to break the tab off, because it does not need to be there. Now they had a washer on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and add another washer. Just like that. All right, just got to add some hot glue. I like it so far. Hopefully nothing's going to get in the way over here. I have to zip tie that back on there. I think everything's going to be just fine. All right, let me get the hot glue gun warmed up and re-glue all this stuff down. I'm just going to re-hot glue this LED in here. I don't think it needs to have that stupid conductive glue on it. And I thought while we're waiting for the hot glue gun to warm up, we'll do some ohm checks. So I have this down at the absolute minimum right now. So I should see effectively a short from the center pin to the right hand pin on your screen. I'm sorry. Yes, it should be a short. What is going on? That one's shorted. What is going on here? Do I have a bad solder connection on one of the leads? Short on that side, it's up all the way right now, and short on that side. So we do have a problem with the black return lead. Maybe I just didn't get a good solder connection on it. Well, let's test the other two. It looked like a good connection, but looks can be deceiving. 0. Now I think these are shorted on the board, so I would expect that. So this is a 20K, so I want to see close to 20K. And I do. We'll turn it up all the way. This side should be effectively 0. 1.1 ohms, perfectly fine with that. And 1 ohm. Okay, now for the last one, I should see 0. 1.7. Now I think these are permanently shorted. Yes, they are. So up all the way. It's a 50K pop, but I'm sure there's other resistances in there. Yeah, 48K. So I'm glad I checked it, because we definitely have some kind of an issue going on right here. I know the center lead is good. Wow, that's weird. All right, let me sort this out. I'll be back. One moment. Well, I see the problem. No, I didn't put it in the wrong hole. I think I pulled a little too hard on it, and the lead just broke off. There we get it in the middle of the screen. So I just need to strip that back, clean that hole out of solder, and re-put it through there, and I think we'll be good. All right, let's try that again. Okay, volume pot is set to minimum. I should get 0 ohms here. And I do. Well, 1 ohm, that's fine. 0 ohms there. And I should get about 5K here, and I do. And about 5K here. And I do. All the way up. Now I want to see about 5K here. And about 5K there. I'd like to see close to 0. And once again, close to 0. Okay, that part's done. Let's head over to the high-level board and change those 4 problematic caps. Check some of the other ones at the same time. Okay, low-level board. As you can see, LL right there is low level. It's all ready to go. Fresh hot glue added to hold these in. Not too terribly much. It doesn't require it. And I did go ahead and add some hot glue where the leads go into the board to keep them from fatiguing. But low-level board done. That's the hardest part. Now let's change some caps. Okay, so I thought I would check these caps before I just changed them. I believe these are 100s. And so I'd like to see about a half an ohm or less. And I see 1.8. That is terrible. 1.9 on that one. I believe these are 10s. So I'd be good with just a few ohms. 2.2. That's not too bad. And 2 ohms, not too terribly bad. And these are a couple of caps that are in the voltage regulator circuit. So 2.8, I believe these are all 100s. 1.1 and 2.2. I think I'm probably just going to go ahead and change those to be safe. Let's see, those are, if I can get the voltage, I think they're only hundreds at 16 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 100 at 16. Let me grab a couple of 100s at 16 and we'll test them brand new. So these are, I believe they're Kemet. I could be mistaken. Yes, these are Kemet 100s at 16. And I see 0.38 ohms, which is much, much closer to what I'd like to see. So at a minimum, we're going to change the 200s and the 300s by this little regulator IC right here that can cause problems over time. I'm not too terribly concerned with the rest of them. They're all very, very low-level caps. Haven't had any problems with those. But at a minimum, we'll grab 5 of these new caps. There we go. And I do need a couple of 10s at 50. And these are Kemet 10s at 50 as well. We'll just check them to see what they test like. Now remember the other ones tested, I think, 2.2 ohms. Let's verify lead integrity is good. 0.01, that's fine. Now these are 1.2 ohms. So much, much better than the 2.2 ohms. What's this one? 1.4. So yeah. Let's change these caps and fire this thing up and get this thing shipped back to my customer. Once again, been here way too long from Cypress, California. Well, I'm not sure who built this board for this company, but they definitely chose the bottom bidder. So, even unsoldering, I lifted a trace. These, I mean, they're just crappy boards. This one's barely hanging on the solder pad right there. Luckily, this pad goes to pin 8. I thought. Oh, it's torn up too. Great. There it is. Okay, that pin goes to pin 8. And then luckily this other side of the cap, if I can get on it, goes to pin 6. So I can easily run some jumpers on the bottom of the board. The other ones came out pretty nicely. No board damage. And then down here, no board damage, luckily. Wow. I mean, this company went with the absolute cheapest bid they could possibly get on making these circuit boards. Just, it's terrible. You pay so much money for something like this. And this is the crap that they send you. All right, let's get some caps installed in this thing and scoot it on down the road. Well, I must be a glutton for punishment, but I went ahead and got those 4 caps replaced, and I'm going to add a little droplet of hot glue on that jumper. Come on, focus today. Add a little droplet of hot glue because you can see the jumper is suspended above the board. So I used a piece of enameled magnet wire to jumper those, and then of course the positive lead was long enough to wrap around, and so I did do a complete wrap and then solder it. I did do a wrap on the capacitor and then a wrap on the IC pin as well. Those have been replaced. Those 3 capacitors have been replaced. They went flawless, and I thought, you know what, look, there's a bunch of more 100 microfarad caps. Let's go ahead and test them. And they use these really crappy, what even are they? What brand? Oh, Suscon. Oh yeah, let's go with the cheapest capacitors we can get. July of 03 is the date on those. So yeah, they're 20 years old. So they're probably in need of replacement. So let's go ahead and drag out the ESR meter once again. And I will zoom out, center things over here, power on. I want to see 0.09 or 0.1 ohms. There it is, 0.09, zeroed out. So let's just check the rest of these caps and see what they actually have to say. 3 ohms, yep, that one's getting replaced. 3.7, even worse. 4.4 with the gifts that keeps on giving. Oh, it's the Jelly of the Month Club. The gift that keeps on giving the whole year. That it is, Eddie. That it is. That one's not too bad. 1.9. I'd like to see less. 1.8. 3.5 really right now. 1.7. What the? 0.3? There's got to be another cap in parallel with that one somewhere. 0.3, yeah, I'm betting that, yeah, there's multiple caps in parallel. Well, we might get away with leaving a couple of them. 3 ohms and 1.4. Oh, my goodness. Well, definitely changing that one and that one and that one. They go with this little IC regulator. I think there's 2 regulators right here, so they need to get changed out. Let's check the new ones I put in just for the fun of it. 0.3, 0.3, 0.29, and then these are the 10s, 1.2 ohms, 1.3, these are the 100s, 0.3, and 0.38. Oh, man. Okie dokie. We got those other 3 caps replaced right there. These guys. And it turns out the one that tested 8 ohms was a 10 microfarad capacitor. And there's a couple other 10 microfarad caps. Those are the ones that are testing in the 3 ohm range, which I'm perfectly fine with. And the hundreds are testing in the 1.5 to 1.8 ohm range. So I'm going to say adios to this board at this point. I think we are good. I did go ahead and apply solder on the top of that capacitor right there, even though I did add leads to the bottom. So yeah, I think it's time to give this baby a test. All right, well, I think I'm ready to power this thing on and see what's going to happen. There we go, AC power on. I do have an audio signal going into it at low level at this point. We'll give it a few seconds. See if it's going to power up or not. Yeah, I'm definitely not cranking the input at this point. There we go, we got the red power LED. Okay, very good. Let's turn up the input level. I have it down very low on my MP3 player right here. There it is, up all the way. Let's get a good audio source into this thing now. Waiting for something with bass. Waiting, waiting. Starting over. All right, well, there it is, up and running. Lots and lots of power. So I had this thing on the 4 amp scale, and it is absolutely just pegging it. Keep in mind, I only have a 16 ohm dummy load going into this thing right now, and it should have about a 30 ohm speaker connected. Oh yeah. Maybe you can see the lights dimming. So that's with the crossover at low. Let's put it up to high. Oh yeah. It's got lots of power. So as far as I can tell, everything is good. There's just bass. There's bass and mid. Way more power than I would have expected from such a tiny footprint. But I think that's going to do it on the Definitive Technology SuperCube III. I should say the Powerfield SuperCube III. A little more than I anticipated. Changed all 3 pots. Changed, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 capacitors. And yeah, it is up and running once again. Pushing it to the point of clipping into a 16 ohm dummy load. Oh yeah, and the dummy load is getting very, very warm. But that's going to be it. The Powerfield SuperCube III by Definitive Technology. Saved from the recycle bin. Once again, been here way too long. I appreciate your views, your comments, your support. Go ahead and leave me a question, a comment down below, good or bad. I try to respond when I have time, which really hasn't been very much recently. Once again, Greg, thank you for being patient on this unit. Down in, let's see, where were you? I think you were in Cypress, California. Yes, Greg in Cypress, California. Once again, thank you for being so patient on this unit. It is up and running. I'll get it boxed up and get it ready to ship back out to you. Probably you'll have it back before this video posts, but that's the way it goes. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X at NorCal715. You can email me, norcal715videos@gmail.com. If you want to contact me, please, the Gmail's not the best way at this point. They've been stacking up. I probably get 100 spam emails a day. I just haven't had a chance to go through them in so long. I have answered a few, but not as many as I would have wanted to. Leave me a comment in one of the videos. I tend to check the comments every couple of days, and hopefully I'll get a chance to reply to one of your video comments. Just any video that's out there, leave me a comment. Remember, with your help, we can try to keep these things out of the landfill, out of the recycle bin, and out of the e-waste facility. Everyone, thank you for making it to the end of this very, very long repair video on the SuperCube III. I really, really appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.